Welcome back inside the State Champ Studio for another edition of Hockey Time. I'm Jonathan Kidd along with Sean Belesian. It was an exciting weekend of high school hockey.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, great hockey being played all over the state, whether it be, D3 kind of figuring out a pecking order, and obviously what we saw out in Livonia at the Adam-Mitchell Memorial KLA-MIHL Showcase. Just a lot of good hockey being played all over the state, Johnny.
Yeah, and shout out to Bay City. They had their showcase, and shout out to their social media game. We got their notifications of all the scores throughout the day.
I loved it. That's Johnny, honestly, that's why I brought it up. A lot of people finding out pecking order, and I love the fact that somebody took the initiative to put all those games out there. It makes our job so much easier. And Johnny, I don't know about you, it's fun for me while I'm watching a game is, ooh, cool, look at that win and things like that. So yeah, thank you very much. I think everybody, John, in the last 10 years have really upped what they do out on social media. There's a buzz about this, so why don't we share that buzz? So thank you.
State Champs Hockey Time is presented by our friends at the Alta Equipment Company. So, Sean, obviously we were at the Adam Mitchell Memorial KLA-MIHL Showcase this past weekend. Your thoughts?
Bragging rights go to the KLAA. This is the first time since they started this that the KLA can say we got it done, and they got it done in convincing fashion. Now, listen. At the end of the day, it's about what happens in March. We all know that. But this is part of the reason why you played it. John, it didn't teach me anything that we didn't already know. These are two darn good conferences. Make no mistake about that. But bragging rights this year go to the KLA.
Well, we did do a State Champs Game Time Live broadcast. It was the game between Trenton and Livonia-Stevenson. Livonia-Stevenson won this game 6-3. Obviously, a potential playoff preview down the road.
Yeah, you know what? And it doesn't change my opinion of either team. I think both teams have a very good chance of making it back to USA Hockey Arena. I mean, for people in Trenton, it may as well be on the schedule. It seems like they're there all the time, and that's a testament to what Coach Clements and his staff have done. And Livonia-Stevenson, same thing. It was an annual trip for a while, so they're looking to get back for the first time in a few years, and they got a pretty good chance. Like both teams a lot, Johnny, two top 10 teams and near the top of the heap in Division II. So it was a heck of a game. Don't read too much into it. Don't think one thing or another. It doesn't change the fact that both of these teams certainly are two of the teams to beat in Division II.
Shout out to the administration at Livonia-Stevenson. They gave the student section some pizza during the game. We showed that on the broadcast. And we also have to shout out Owen Hall's girlfriend, Natalie. We got her on the broadcast.
There's a lot of energy there, Johnny. No doubt about that. Big smile on her face. And, it was great to see both fan bases. The Trojans, you know what they do with the pit. They had a bunch of fans out there. And the Stevenson fans were out there in mass. Just a fun afternoon in Eddie Edgar. And Johnny, to me, that's what hockey is all about at this level. Yeah, we get treated to some great hockey, but have some fun with it. Have that hometown kind of feel to it. And in my mind, Johnny, Eddie Edgar had that feel all day on Saturday.
And some other games at the showcase. Gibraltar-Carlson, they're not in the MIHL or the KLA. They participated. They played Canton, and they came out with a shootout win.
Yeah, and good for them. I saw a couple of shootouts there and everything. Now, Johnny, I'm going to say it.
He's not a fan.
I'm not a fan. I don't like the shootout. But when you're talking about, a scenario like that, yeah, why not? When you're having a showcase like that, yeah, why not? But that's nice for Gibraltar-Carlson. They're playing well. Make no mistake about that. And, it was interesting. We were watching the Red Stallions as well, and they put Quinn Pascoe in just for the shootout, and they found a way to get a win as well. So, yeah, a lot of excitement really on both rinks all day Saturday.
Yeah, shout out to Andy Watson, the Carlson coach, and he kind of has that Anderson Cooper look.
Yeah, that's what you sent me. That was kind of funny, but hey, he's doing a good job there. I know we talked about them a little bit last week. He's doing a good job. That's a nice win out in Livonia as well.
Also, another shootout was Orchard Lake St. Mary's and Howell. You had two Wall Award candidates in Lansky and Keene, and then Julian Johnson, he made a good impression on you.
Oh, it made a good impression on a lot of people. A lot of people were talking him up. And, he's on our list for a reason. But, John, it's funny whenever you have games like that, a lot of times guys will walk up to you, whether they be opposing coaches or, as you know, there are a ton of scouts in that building. And they'll, man, did you see that kid? Did you see that kid? And so there was a lot of that going on. Did you see that kid? But that was a kid that made a big mark, to be sure, for the Eaglets.
I know at the football state finals, a couple of the hockey players from Orchard Lake St. Mary's in the crowd was like, are you guys going to talk about us more? I have a feeling we are.
Well, it's interesting. I'll point out to them, take a look at both lists. There aren't many teams that have a player on both lists, and Orchard Lake is one of them. So certainly we're recognizing what you're doing. Johnny, I put him in the top 10. I don't know what else we can do. Keep doing what you're doing. Coach Klano's got himself a darn good team this year.
Yeah, shout out to a couple other KLAA teams that had victories at the showcase. How about Novi and how about Plymouth?
Yeah, you know what? I think two teams that, for varying degree, I think they both felt like they needed those wins, and going out there and finding a way to get those wins, that's what it was about. And that, let's be honest, that kind of set the tempo for the day. Some of those early wins kind of set the tempo for the day, where all of a sudden we're looking at the scoreboard because they have that big sheet between the rinks, and you're like, you know what? The KLA might pop this. And then, obviously in the afternoon it became official. But those are nice wins. I'm going to say it again. I think Novi, there's a lot of pieces there. I've seen them a few times already this year. So you have to give them some props there. And in Plymouth, I love those guys. There's no doubt about that. They are working their tail off to bring the Wildcats to the level that we saw them at just a few years ago, and I think they're going to get it done.
And another KLA team that needed a much-needed win for them was Salem. They pulled it out against the defending Division III state champs in Cranbrook.
I'm going to say it again. I know I said it a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to say it again. I'm not sure right now there's a better line than that top line at Salem. Yeah. And I'm serious. That if you guys haven't seen that top line, I'm talking about Kaminsky, Patel, and Chaput. That is an outstanding line. I've seen them a few times this year. And Salem, if they can find some consistency, okay, look out. Because, I've seen both ends. I've seen them look really good, and I've seen them where you're like, okay, there's something missing. But they put it all together. That's a nice win against a very good Cranbrook team. Make no mistake about that. The people that thought that Cranbrook was going to fall off the page, think again. They've got two good goaltenders. I think they've got a heck of a lot of good talent up front as well. So look out. Cranbrook's going to be there come playoff time in Division III again.
It was not all about the KLA at the showcase, but Warren De La Salle, they took on Northville for the second year in a row, and they came out with a 3-1 victory.
I like that game. That was a good game. Those are two teams that, mark my words, they're both going to get better as this season goes on. I thought that was a very good game. Two well-coached teams, and on top there obviously was De La Salle. But as I said, mark my words, you guys, in about a month, I think people are going to be looking differently at both those teams, both the Pilots and the Mustangs.
And then also, too, in the later games on Saturday, Heartland making a big statement, 3-0 win over Brother Rice.
Yeah, you know what? They can play with you any way you like. To limit Rice like that, and it shows you want some goals, they're going to find a way. Ian Costum will put on a show. I would say Julian and Ian were the two guys that got the most buzz all weekend. People were really talking up Ian, and if you watch his show, you know what I think about the kid. John, to me, I think there's a top two in the state right now, and I'm serious. If somebody wanted to say, well, I think Heartland's number one, I'm not going to argue too much with them.
Well, we'll save that for just a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue too much with them, John. It's Heartland is loaded. The whole team, you look at it, I'm from Sabala and net. I think they got a good defense core. Those lines just keep coming at you. I had an opposing coach tell me, no name mentioned, he said, it's like they're all the same. It doesn't matter. It's the second line. It doesn't matter. It's the third line. They all go out there and they all play the right way.
And Detroit Catholic Central, they took on Brighton. 4-1 victory. You know, the winning streak in the state of Michigan still intact.
Yeah, you know what? And this is why, John, and I know you said more on that later. If you want to argue that Catholic Central's number one, you are well within your right. And it's not just based on the winning streak and things that happened in the past. I think look at their body of work so far this year. Every challenge that has come at them, and everybody knows how difficult their schedule is, they've gotten it done. So in my mind, John, I think there's a top 2 in the state right now. Somebody creeping in at 3 that I'm really intrigued about, but yeah, if you want to have that CC Heartland debate, you can go ahead and have it.
And what's your thoughts on Brighton so far this year?
Brighton is going to get better. There's no doubt in my mind. We've seen
Hutchison played well in that.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time again, John. Where Brighton, it doesn't matter if they're veteran, it doesn't matter if they're young, like this version. You watch them get better. Hey, I'll tell you what, a guy that it doesn't seem to me like a lot of people are talking about is Peterson. You know, this is a kid that made some noise last year, played on that top line for a while as a freshman. Boy, is he taking a big step. And you mentioned the goaltending, and you mentioned what they have on their blue line. I'm a big fan of Watkins. You keep him in the lineup, and that's just a whole different dynamic for Brighton. So don't worry about it. I've seen Kurt Kavisto do this many times over. They are going to find their way, and they are going to be a threat yet again in Division I come playoff time.
Time now for our Coaches Corner, brought to you by our friends at the Michigan High School Hockey Coaches Association. So, Sean, it's the holiday season, and we want to give a special shout-out to these coaches who support Hockey Time and support this great game of high school hockey.
We can't do what we do without your efforts across the board, whether it be giving up your time to coach and do everything that has to do with your team, and certainly the time that you give us. Johnny, you and I both know when you reach out to guys, they get back to you. I mean, period, end of story. I can't thank you enough for that. It makes my job, our job, so much easier. And a lot of times you guys reach out to us, even when we didn't reach out to you, to let us know something that's going on, whether it be for your team, whether it be for the opposing team. So I don't think enough is said about the work that the coaches at this level that they put in. So we wanted to say this right now. And certainly, guys, you're the straw that stirs the drink.
And I want to make a special thank you. You know, my grandma passed away over a week ago, and I was so touched by all the text messages I got from hockey coaches throughout the week, you know, sending their thoughts and prayers.
They're just classy guys across the board, and they're in it for the right reasons. When you're coaching at this level, you have a love for the game, and it shows. So thanks for everything you guys do.
All right, so as we head into the new year, it's now going to be the final stretch.
Yeah, and you know, John, the crazy thing is it flies by. The next thing you know, we're all at USA Hockey Arena with, you know, a lot of times some new teams there as well. Of course, there'll be the fair share of usual suspects, but, you know, when I look at it, I think Division I is wide open. I think Division II is wide open. I think Division III is really wide open. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I think that's the division of intrigue this year, but there's no givens this year, and that's a pretty good place.
Well, also, too, we're going to be going out to some showcases in the new year, so plenty of time to see some coaches.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, you know, it's always nice to catch up with some guys, you know, whether it be near or far. And that's the one thing. I'm going to give our buddy John Watson a shout out. You know, he said he wanted us to get out and do more games and Game Time Live. And we've been doing that. And hopefully we can do some more in the new year and see a lot of you coaches in person.
And that was this week's Coaches Corner, brought to you by our friends at the Michigan High School Hockey Coaches Association. So coming up here on Hockey Time, we're going to reveal Sean's first top 25 hockey rankings, and we'll preview the week ahead in high school hockey.
At Alta Equipment, we know when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Leeboy, Sonnenbogen, Avant, ASV, and more to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. Alta Equipment services all makes and models, and their technicians are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have a big project? Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Your persistence and dedication have brought you this far. But the fire of curiosity within you burns to push beyond your limits. LTU is the place where your passions and curiosities can soar, pushing your mind and body to new magical heights. Lawrence Technological University. Be curious. Make magic.
It's time now for our Warrior Hockey Player of the Year update. So, Sean, the top 10 stays the same, and you can cast your vote at statechampsnetwork.com. Probably going to make some changes after the new year.
I guarantee you, our first show after the new year, I guarantee you we'll make changes. How's that, John?
Okay. So the evidence is here.
The evidence is here. We're going to let things play out because there are games over the holiday, and we're going to look deeper. There are a few guys that are banging the door right now that I don't think we can ignore.
This week, we're going to profile Ian Cosimo, the senior out of Heartland High School. He was the one that scored that game-winning goal against Trenton in his freshman year, but it seems like he's been in high school for 17 years.
Yeah, easy 17 years. And you know what? The kid keeps getting better and better. He, as I mentioned earlier, he put on a show against Rice. Everybody was talking about him. He had a couple goals, having a big year again. He's got 16 points. But, John, I know I said this last year. I'm going to say it again. If you're looking at points with Ian Cosimo, he's going to get some, but what you look at is what a complete player he is. You go to war with a kid like this. I think he leads by example. He's been one of the best players in the state for a couple of years in a row. He's got a bright future, does Ian Cosimo. Love the kid's game.
You can cast your vote for Ian and the rest of the top 10 at statechampsnetwork.com, and that was our Warrior Hockey Player of the Year update.
Out here, it's not just about the hustle. It's about breaking the game. Every single day. Zeroing in on what we want, putting a target on it, and hitting the bullseye. Over and over again, because second best, that's for somebody else's story. The fire that fuels us, the bond that unites us, we don't just play the game. We set it ablaze. We break through.
It's time now for our Wall Award update, brought to you by our friends at Warrior Hockey. So, Sean, the top 10 stays the same. You can cast your vote at statechampsnetwork.com. But we got some kids that are knocking on the door.
It's unbelievable. I think you could flip this list a lot. I mean, there are really some good goaltenders out there. It was interesting, John, because if you remember, like the first week in November when we first talked out at Novi High School, we were like, okay, this is going to be an opportunity for some goalies to make a name for themselves, to kind of burst on the scene. Yes, there are some guys that have been there, but some other guys have really jumped up on the page and made you go, wow. So, yeah, I have a feeling there'll be some changes here as well.
And when we get nominations from coaches, we take that very serious.
100%, and there are some names that are being thrown out there right now, and even if you're not part of the committee that helped us get these lists to start, the word from the coaches means more. It just does, so I appreciate. By the way, I'm not going to mention any names. As we're taping this, John and I got a note from a particular coach out there. Shout out, he knows who he is, and that just weighs more. When a coach is bringing up a guy from the opposition or telling us to keep an eye on a guy, that just weighs more.
This week, we're going to profile Will Keene from Orchard Lake St. Mary's. He had a strong performance at the KLA-MIHL showcase.
Yeah, and contrary to what a few Eaglet fans were telling John Kidd, we're paying attention to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Not only are you a top 10 team, but you're one of the few teams that have a player on the Player of the Year, and this guy deservedly on the wall list as well. Take a look at these numbers, Johnny. He's 4-0-1, .56 goals against average, .910 save percentage, and one of the big reasons why Orchard Lake is going to be in that usual suspect area of Division 3. So it should be really fun to see how Division 3 plays out. I think Division 3, there's probably more intrigue in Division 3 this year. Every year, you never know how it is. Maybe one year it's Division 1, maybe one year it's Division 2. Right now, to me, Division 3 is the one that's making me go like this, and certainly Orchard Lake St. Mary's is a huge part of that.
You can cast your vote for Will and the rest of the top 10 at our website at statechampsnetwork.com. And that was our Wall Ward update brought to you by our friends at Warrior Hockey. All right, Sean, we revealed your first top 25 rankings, and you can see it at statechampsnetwork.com. We had some people on social media that said, like, is Heartland number one? Is Detroit Catholic Central number one? We are going with Detroit Catholic Central at number one because,
well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And I said it as I wrote it. I said, if you want to make the argument that Heartland's number one, I get it. I am going with Catholic Central. I think their schedule has been a little tougher to this point in time. That doesn't mean that Heartland's schedule hasn't been tough, but I think there's a little bit of difference in the schedule. I think if you look at the quality wins, it's very even. There's no doubt about that. But this is where I am going to use the champ analogy. They're the champ until somebody knocks them off. Yep. They are. That's just the way it is. And, you know, Heartland has an opportunity to do it, I'm sure. Their paths will probably cross somewhere during the course of the year, if not during the regular season. We'll wait and see what transpires out at the showcase. I know a lot of people would love to see a matchup like that at the showcase. Maybe we'll hit Chad Clements up again and he can give us a sneak peek. That would be fun. But
or how about we reveal it on Hockey Time?
That would be great. If Chad, if you could do that again, we would love that. Thank you very much. But no, really, all jokes aside, John, if you wanted to put Heartland number one, I wouldn't have an argument with you. Just the same, I hope that people would look at it the same way and go, okay, I understand why you put Catholic Central number one. So it's a good problem to have when you have two teams. And I teased this in the last segment. I mean, keep an eye on Flint Powers. I think very, very quietly, they're kind of flying under the radar right now. And everybody knows how the success that Travis Perry has had over the years. This is a really, really good team. They've got some big tests coming up that I'm intrigued to see about. But it's a good problem to have, John.
You can see Sean's top 25 rankings at statechampsnetwork.com. And let's preview the week ahead in high school hockey. And we'll preview the games that are in Sean's top 25 rankings. How about the game on Saturday? Just talking about Flint Powers, number 3 Flint Powers taking on number 4 East Grand Rapids.
Well, I love that matchup. I mean, Johnny, you take a look at these two teams right now. EGR, another guy that's making a play for getting on the wall award list is Finch out there. He's having a fantastic year. .67 goals against, .927 save percentage. Right now, I mean, that top line for Powers has been unbelievable. Parmenter and Cook, they've been unbelievable. They are lighting it up right now, so that should be a dandy.
And how about on Wednesday night out on the
West Side?
We have Granville taking on Muskegon Mona Shores. I saw Mona Shores this past weekend against Wyandotte Roosevelt. The Tilden twins are ones to watch.
Well, this is one of those things, Johnny, where you've got Granville. Take a look at what they've been able to do right now. They're mauling teams right now. There's a lot of scoring led by Landon Smith, 7 goals 6 assists, 13 points. And then Mona's been really good at limiting. And another guy that is making a case for the wall is Griff's Castonia. How about this? A $189 goals against average, a $941 save percentage. So maybe the pop of the Bulldogs taking on the defensive prowess of the Sailors. That's always a good match.
And how about Muskegon Motor Shorts giving you that wonderful shout out after the game?
We love you!
That was very nice. I appreciate that, boys. Thank you very much. Continued success to you guys. There's a reason why you're in the rankings.
Big game tonight is Brighton going on the road at Hull.
No, John, we were out there last year. I can't believe that was a year ago. Remember that? Right before
Christmas?
Christmas?
Yeah, it's right around this time.
Yeah, right before Christmas. Brighton, as I mentioned, Tim Peterson, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. That's outstanding. And Lansky, I mean, he's been as advertised. He's got a $154 goals against average, .935 save percentage. Boy, Livingston County, again, loaded. You got Heartland out there, obviously. Howell and Brighton, that's can't-miss stuff.
We head back out to the west side on Thursday night for the big game between Forest Hill Central and Grand Rapids Catholic Central.
Yeah, Forest Hill Central, Eli Lipke off to a good start, 5 goals and assists. And Grand Rapids Catholic Central, Mike Slobodnik, he's always in the mix. Cooper Moss, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize to Cooper's family if I'm not. 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 points on the season. That should be a dandy out on the west side.
We have some teams from Southeast Michigan making the trip all the way to the Upper Peninsula. How about on Friday with Orchard Lake St. Mary's taking on Marquette?
I really like that. You know, we talked about Julian Johnston. How about 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points, and the buzz that young man is creating. And Brody Sheldon up in Marquette, 9 goals, 8 assists, 17 points. Should be a dandy up there in Marquette.
And then number 2, Heartland is going up as well. They're going to take on Houghton on Friday.
Don't you love that? Houghton, listen, again, for people out there that thought even with all their losses, they were going to take a big step back, Mike is not going to let that happen. DeForge, Arco, they're getting good goaltending. The Gremlins are up there again in the elites of Division III.
On the following day, Houghton will be taking on Trent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that should be a great game. 2 teams that come at you. They got one speed, and that's go at you. I like Durban as well. We brought up Tinsley earlier. I like Durban as well. Durban's off to a fantastic start. 7 goals, 10 assists. If you haven't seen Tinsley yet, boy, I love that kid's game. I think he's going to be a stud at this level. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. He's got 6 goals already, 3 assists, but really every time he touched the puck, John, that was kind of one of those get up out of your seat type of players, so it'll be fun to see what transpires there.
We've obviously have made some trips to the Upper Peninsula. What would you tell these high school players that are going up to the Upper Peninsula for the very first time?
Well, don't forget your passport. That's a joke. It's a joke. That's a long-running joke, okay? You don't need your passport up there. Buy beef jerky. Get beef jerky, right?
So go to Gustafson's.
Yeah, right on US 2, what is it, Briefport? I think it's Briefport. Just go to Gustafson's. You'll thank me later.
Lunch at the Cut River Inn.
You could do that as well. But like for me, I'm all about, I'm going to go get my big bags of beef jerky. They have multiple varieties. It's great to chew on. Because here's the thing, Johnny. When you get there, you think, all right, we're almost to Marquette. No, you're not. No, you're not even really close.
You got about another 3 hours.
Yeah, so you know what? You matriculate your way up to Marquette, and it's even further, obviously, as you know, if you're going over to Calumet. So you'll have plenty of time to sit there, get ready for the game, and eat some protein.
What else do you expect?
Well, it's outstanding. If you go over to Houghton, yeah, you can catch a Tech game. Maybe you can catch Northern Michigan if they're at home. When you go up to Marquette, it's the bonding. You hear the coaches talk about it all the time. Our team came together on this trip or came together on that trip. So that was the funny thing about it is that's the one undeniable thing. And Johnny, you've heard the kids say it. You've heard the guys say it. Oh my gosh, that trip to here or there or whatever the case may be. But it's special up in the UP. You guys know how I feel. I don't even hide it. If I had my way, I'd be living up there.
Well, he's the governor of the Upper Peninsula.
Listen, I love it up there. I absolutely love it up there. It's just
you bump into people at a McDonald's in Marquette.
That was actually funny. That's a true story. But no, all jokes aside, it really is just a different world and a special place up there.
And lastly, on Hockey Time, we're going to preview the East vs. West showcase out at Mud Ice Arena on Saturday, hosted by Howl.
I love that they're doing that. You know, they kind of told us the plans last year, and it's starting to take footing and everything. John, I'd love it if we could get up there sometime. Any excuse I can use to go back up to Munn, I'll take it. Home of the number one team in college hockey, by the way.
And your daughter goes there, too.
My daughter goes there as well. But listen, did I mention Michigan State's number one? But all jokes aside, this is
not
something.
Michigan.
This is something. It's growing and growing and growing, and I think it's going to get better. And there's a lot of good teams up there, and as always, there should be some quality action.
And that is it for another edition of State Champs Hockey Time. We're going to take a nice little holiday break. Sorry, Sean. Sorry. I won't be able to see you for a few weeks, unless I'll probably come to your house and eat some meat.
You can come over anytime. You know, we'll have some barbecues. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we'll have some barbecues, but
Or we can watch some college football games.
we could do that. It is bowl season, but Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and the family, and to everybody else out there. Thanks for watching us. State Champs Network is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic. Visit ltu.edu today. State Champs Hockey Time is powered by Alta Equipment Company, Michigan's #1 construction equipment provider with over 40 brands. Get the right equipment for your project every time. Warrior Hockey is proud to sponsor the Michigan High School Hockey Player and Goalie of the Year Award. Warrior Hockey is made for this. The Michigan High School Hockey Coaches Association. For all things Michigan High School hockey, go to the Hub. MIHSHockeyHub.com. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Reaction Technologies, up your game. Go to reactiontechnologies.com for more information. Salvation Army, the time to give is now. With the season of giving already upon us, help out the Salvation Army by donating to them today at registertoring.com.